Welcome to Detecting Intelligence, the only show that treats AI like a crime scene. We bag the evidence, dust the hype for fingerprints, and interrogate the breakthroughs. Then we ask the only question that matters. Are we closer to AGI? Let's find out. Here are your hosts, Frank and Ronnie.
GM Ronnie.
Yeah, Mr. Z. How are you, sir?
I'm doing okay. We got a huge snowstorm happening, in Canada.
No way.
And I wish it was not happening, but it is.
Oh man, yeah, no, haven't seen snow for a bit over here in New York City. So it's but it did get a little colder, but no, sunny skies here. So, how many inches or feet are you guys expecting?
So luckily not too much, I don't think. We're only supposed to get about, I think they said about 3 to 10 centimeters, which is about 3 inches. So we'll see. But it's a mess out there right now. But it's supposed to go up to 75 Fahrenheit on Wednesday or Thursday, I should say. So in 2 days.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
It's a big swing in temperatures.
Yeah. And I guess we're used to it here on the East Coast. And especially lately was a pretty major temperature swing.
Yeah.
It's tough to dress, man. You have to you have to bring out half your wardrobe because you're to be prepared for whatever you're going to get out there at this time of year.
So true.
But anywho, so we had just a little minor break there from things. But nothing. The reasons being nothing too serious. But yeah. Frank, so you've had some personal, professional stuff happen recently. You've personally been affected by Anthropic's decisions as of late with them banning their API to OpenClaw users. Yeah, so you had a pretty interesting day yesterday, man. And I know when I spoke to you yesterday morning, I did not envy you whatsoever because I just knew if I was in your position, I would have burned down my surroundings. But yeah, dude. So tell us a little bit about what OpenClaw. I mean, not what OpenClaw. What Anthropic did, and then how that affected you. Another OpenClaw. I mean, every OpenClaw user, but of course, you're speaking for yourself here. But.
Yeah, no, it was quite the weekend, and especially for what was meant to be a holiday weekend, it was not spent with very much rest and relaxation, unfortunately, on my end. So for those that maybe don't know, and for the record here, we're creating OpenClaw, as everyone knows, is a very large open source project that allows you to essentially build your own local AI that connects into some of these larger models for intelligence, but enables you to have full control over the files and systems that you're putting in place. So big fan of that project, have been one of the early adopters and immediately saw business applications for this. So, I've been working with some clients implementing OpenClaw for their business, as well as working with a few close friends to implement this system as well for their business. And it was all dependent on this hack that we all kind of, in full transparency, were exploiting a little bit, which was that if you had subscribed to a Claude Max plan, you could essentially have unlimited access to Claude Opus 4.6, which is honestly probably the best model on the market right now, in my opinion, which gave this OpenClaw setup just superpowers. Like you were able to produce things super quick using Opus 4.6 for everything from conversation to development to building products. Wild. And some of the things we saw people doing with it just kind of blew my mind. I think somebody put it well on X this weekend, where it was like you had a glimpse into what this being superhuman was going to be like, and now unfortunately, the companies have taken it away from us. I even had a very close friend of mine who is very good with spreadsheets, but lacking when it comes to anything else developing. And this guy was building mobile apps, huge platforms that had enterprise potential. And I talked to him this weekend, and he's just like gutted, feeling just like I was finally able to get this output that I had, dreamed of.
Yeah.
It would have cost tens of thousands of dollars to work with a developer. And now, although it's not taken away entirely, it just means there's a pretty hefty price tag with it. So what this all kind of gets to is that Anthropic decided to close the door on this hack that everybody was using to access unlimited Opus 4.6 with their OpenClaw, which essentially was, if you subscribe to this Claude Max plan, you could, instead of using API, use an OAuth connection, which allowed you to tap into your subscription so that you're not paying per token. We had really no idea that it was going to happen this quick, but essentially they announced on Friday that they started sending emails to people on Friday saying, hey, tomorrow at noon Pacific, we're cutting this off. We're going to give you some credits that you can use, but you're getting cut off. And I didn't get one of these emails, which I was surprised. I thought like, okay, maybe this is like a spoof, because a couple of people that I worked with got the email, they sent it to me, and then I was constantly refreshing my mailbox, but I didn't get anything.
So nothing. Okay.
Well, and so I started saying to people, hey, maybe don't click on the link, because you probably remember these days, Ronnie, but back in like the downloading movies and film or music days, this was a tactic that some companies would use. Was they would send a blanket email out saying, hey, we've caught you, downloading copyrighted material. Click this link to settle with us. And by clicking that link, you're more or less admitting guilt. So I was saying to people, don't click the link. Let's just see how this plays out. But unfortunately, it was real. And I lost my connection as well, too, right on the dot that they said it would get cut off.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what happened. What transpired after that is kind of a bit of a longer story, but I don't know, what have you been hearing about it, Ronnie? Just kind of curious your take on it as well.
I've only caught the news that this had happened, and then for the next 12 24 hours it was all over my algo. People are fed up with these changes by Anthropic, and Claude is dead. Everybody's offering their solutions or substitutions, in light of, or in lieu of, losing access to Claude. And so I'm not sure what the strategy is here with Anthropic doing that, knowing the popularity of the usage, but I guess that's just above our pay grade, and also we don't work there, so we don't know what the internal workings of Anthropic is and what the long-term plans are. I assume it's basically what the current long-term plans are, which led to the ban. I don't know if it's energy reasons or they need to compute themselves for whatever it is that they're building. That could probably very well be the reason that they just kind of want to, compute is a commodity nowadays. So, there isn't a unlimited amount of it. So if Anthropic or, and that goes for everybody, Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, whoever it is, if you're an AI company and you need data, just like, everything else or just about everything else needs oil. It's a finite resource, and you might have to start rationing it off. And it actually, talking about oil now, it looks like certain countries or businesses around the globe may have to start rationing off their energy or the oil. We might find ourselves soon not being able to fly certain places because there's just not enough oil to go around. Anywho, side note there, but similar, possibly similar to what's happening here with compute and all these data companies. They just kind of might need to start taking back a little bit of this compute to see out their own initiatives. So anywho, so it's probably just we live in a 24-hour news cycle, so I kind of forgot about it already. Mostly because I don't, I'm not fully set up on, or I'm not even partially set up with OpenClaw yet. I tried it out on a VPS, played around with it. Very cool. I don't have it running on a local machine or anything like that. I'm still circling the drain in that aspect, but I'm getting close to getting to drowning. But I'm watching. I'm living vicariously through you, Frank. So I'm with you on these ups and downs that you're experiencing. So, but anywho, so that's the gist from my perspective so far with Anthropic and banning Claude. I have to imagine it's their long-term plans that they're doing this for. So if they have to take a little slap in the face or a little slap on the wrist right now for a little bit, they probably thought it was worth it.
Yeah, I found it really interesting that last week Claude was like delivering insane amounts of releases, right? And funny enough, a lot of these releases were very pointed at OpenClaw because there were capabilities that made OpenClaw kind of interesting, that made people question on social, hey, is this the OpenClaw killer feature? Or as you said, OpenClaw is dead because Claude just released this feature. There's a huge difference still. Yeah, like yes, you can certainly use these tools and have less problems, but that is the lure of the walled garden, right? If you care about open source, or you care about having choice in the future, no large company is going to help you do that. You're going to have to develop it, go through some pain, and as one person once put it to me, that ownership comes with a lot of responsibility. These are all true things that you need to kind of consider and look at, and that's the battle I've signed up for. So as much as it sucks this weekend, burning all that time just to get things kind of up and running again, for the bigger picture and the long haul of where I'm headed with AI, I'm here for it. And what ended up transpiring, I think in the end, is something we all knew that was going to come eventually, was that we're going to have to be aware and concerned of token usage, because it's my belief that tokens are still hugely underpriced and are only going to increase in cost, especially as we enter into some of these different stages of the global economy where energy is a premium and it's harder to source. All these things require huge amounts of energy, and the token cost can be directly, attributed to, that source of energy that it pulls from. But so maybe, again, it's a blessing in disguise, because it just forces us to, start figuring out how to better optimize the open source system and get it to be operating as cost effectively as possible while we can. And I mean, like, what other system do you have right now that you can use multiple models? That's one thing you're never going to be able to do with a Claude or OpenAI. Like right now, the way I've structured mine is I've still got Opus as like the main brain and the orchestrator, as they say, but I'm using a local model for small tasks. I'm using cheaper models for tasks that don't require a lot of intelligence, just a lot of decent output. And like, there's no other platform you can do that, right? Like, I'm using OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, and some other local models. Still staying away from the Chinese models. But
we don't talk about those anymore.
But it's working great. It's just now I have a true cost, so I just got to factor in that cost of doing business.
Yeah, so I want to bring up a post here by Mark Andreessen talking about just this, of course, and the post goes for those listening. Magical OpenClaw experiences that use frontier models cost $300 to $1,000 a day today, heading to $10,000 $10,000 a day and more. The future shape of the entire technology industry will be how to drive that to $20 a month. That's a scary thought, and I don't think a very far-fetched scenario whatsoever, that just given the geopolitical situation right now that we're facing, and just what all these wars mean for energy, it's very possible that what these subscription tiers cost today could 10x throughout the year, over the span of the year, and just these things start going up and up and up, and not even average Joes. Well, all right, well, let's just say that, like, average Joes and Janes are going to get priced out of being able to use, not even just the best models, but even maybe just like the second to best models, or people might even get priced out of using. So that's I'm not happy to see that play out, because I'm very happy right now with my nominal cost that I'm paying for all these AI subscriptions, because I'm paying for quite a few of them. Right. And I don't think I'm maxed out. I mean, once in a while I'll do it just for shits and giggles. I'll max out I'll go out max out on the planner, on the plan for one of the models for a couple of months or something. But anywho, yeah, I like what I'm paying right now, but I understand that I am going to have to pay more in the future. But geez, potentially, yeah. I know he just threw a number out there, but $10,000 a day to use like the latest, like, let's just say Opus 4.9 or something, or 5.0. Man, that's going to suck.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that reality though, because I've heard that the majority of accounts aren't fully using their token allocation that they have available in the subscription. So they're playing a game of averages, where if, let's say, 20 people are using their accounts to the max, and 80% have some space at the end of it, then they can kind of figure out what a reasonable cost is based off of providing tokens to that whole audience. But as more people come online with AI, including yourself, Ronnie, and getting OpenClaw going finally, I think that's going to be the driver of increasing these costs, because now we're going to have always-on systems, especially with agents. Right now, I think it's a lot easier for these companies to predict costs, because they're still having to have humans kind of force that starting input, and there's like a lot that are just chatting with AI instead of running agentic workflows. But as more companies come on board with agentic workflows and automation, this cost is just going to go up, right? So that's another thing to be aware of right now as you're building systems, is that I mean, Alex Finn, I know we're both a fan of him. He's correct. You need to be investing in hardware at this point if you're a serious player in the game, because hardware is the only way you're going to be able to run models locally and not be dependent on tokens or API. So
right.
M5 is coming out in June. I think the new studio from Apple.
Can you pre-order it already?
No, not yet, but I might get on that here pretty soon, because they're probably going to sell it pretty quick.
Yeah, no, you might have to add that to your calendar or set a reminder for that one. Because given all these hardware constraints, especially with Apple, with their Mac Minis and their Mac Studios, you're experiencing it already, as is everyone else that's trying to get their hands on this stuff. So definitely get on a pre-order.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just take a quick sidebars or whatever, however you say it.
Detour.
A quick detour. Yeah. Have you been following what's been happening with the moon launch and everything?
Yeah. Actually, very interesting. I haven't seen any photos yet, though. That's what I'm kind of.
Well, there's one.
Hey, that looks really cool.
Look at this beauty.
Is this supposed to be the front or the back?
I believe it's supposed to be. No, it looks like the front, but just with some added color. They're color enhanced. So this is but they did just swing around. I think the current the group of astronauts are officially the first humans to have traveled the furthest away from Earth. And I think 50 years or so again. But look at wow, look at
that looks so cool, eh?
well, yeah, and then so I got something else here, and then look at this thing. I mean, wow! Look at the detail of that, and I can't help but look at this, and I'm like, okay, these are like cosmic battle scars. The moon has just been getting pounded by objects out there, as we have. I mean, we get hit all the time. We're probably getting bombarded right now, but they're just really small and they don't make it through the atmosphere. But look at this, dude. Just seeing it in detail, so much detail like this. I haven't for a minute. I was like, wow, the moon's been taking a beating for us. Anywho, yeah, love this. And Jesus, why did it take us so long to get back there?
You know, I was thinking that this morning, actually. It's like, because they talked about this being one of the first missions that eventually is going to lead to a moon base. It's like, man, this is like 50 years ago. We were already there. You're like, why did we?
You know what? So long, man, it's because it's a data center push for orbit. That has to be what it is.
Just think about like how rich the economies could be right now if they were grabbing minerals and sources from comets and the moon, and like,
yeah,
what a different life we would all be living right now if they had actually continued going to the moon.
I know. Yeah. I mean, imagine an asteroid made of diamonds or gold or platinum or titanium struck. I mean, it would just totally disrupt those economies. But that those celestial bodies exist. I mean, there are planets. I haven't verified this, but I'm watching. I feel like I'm usually watching the Science Channel or something like that. But there are like planets. I don't know if it's Venus where it like rains diamonds or something. It's insane.
Yeah, anyway, it's crazy.
I just wanted to talk about that real quick.
Well, I've heard too, there is like one asteroid that if it were brought into orbit and mined, that it would completely collapse our financial system because it's just so rich in gold and nickel and all these rare earth metals or rare metals.
Yeah, because the value and just about everything is we put it in we value it based on its scarcity.
Yeah, it's so true.
This construct that we've decided to invent for good reason, I guess. We got here, so we're here. We've made it this far, based on the just based on scarcity and bartering and all that. I was going to say bantering and bartering. So kudos to our ancestors for that.
And at the risk of being disagreed with, I mean, you got to think capitalism, really, man, like in many ways, because like capitalism has got us to this point, in my opinion.
True capitalism.
Yes.
By its definition.
Yeah.
Not what we have today.
No, for sure.
Which is crony capitalism.
Yes. Oh, yes. No, I agree.
Yes.
But, the fact that, or the ability for anyone to be able to start a company and make money and there to be markets of competition, I think has been a very good thing for progress for us.
Yeah. And, and that's something that a lot of people get wrong. And just talk about politics real quick. And talking about capitalism, that, I'm a Bernie bro, but I'm also a capitalist, so I'm a socialist and I'm a capitalist. Therefore, I am a democratic socialist, and that's a lot of there's just so much information going around about socialism and communism and fascism. And, people don't know what these words mean anymore. And people just forget or just don't understand that, and again, I'm just speaking as a democratic socialist. Like, no, I'm a capitalist, but I'm also a socialist. And I just like to marry the two. And you just get, when you marry the two, you get ethical capitalism, or capitalism by its truest definition. Because what we've seen in the last 40, 50 years is not capitalism. For the most part, it's been crony capitalism, because $90 trillion has been siphoned from the rest of the country to the top 1%. That's not capitalism.
Here's my thought: is we will never escape that as long as it's run by a human. I think that's
or a human that accepts bribes.
Yeah, I think artificial intelligence has honestly probably one of the strongest potentials for true democracy, because you eliminate, as long as this AI is built, not controlled by one company, as long as you remove that human element, because I think everyone is corruptible at some point, right? Which is the unfortunate piece in the part of the human condition, in my opinion. But I think you remove that, and we have
by making that statement, Frank, you're admitting that then you are corruptible as well.
I mean, if I were put in
everybody is, then that means you are in the so
and you know what, I totally would be, depending on the scenario, right? Like if you look at the emotional connections we make, especially as you grow older and you have children, and then this fear of being able to protect and provide, that is something that I can't say for certain if I weren't put in a difficult situation where I had to decide between my family and another person, if I would make the right decision.
Well, all right. Well, hold on. Well, all right, fine. I mean, but those aren't very hard circumstances to come to terms with if, your family is being threatened. But I'm just talking about people that don't need to be corrupted, that people are already, if they didn't involve themselves with any corruption whatsoever, that they could, ride off into the sunset and and be totally fine. But of course, then I put myself in that situation, in that scenario as well. Of course, there's everybody has a price if you're, if you're threatening them or a loved one, that totally makes sense. But and AI is going to, I don't know. I mean, we're going to, do you know if there are any experiments being done already in small towns or in small cities that are, I believe there is, that are being governed by an AI?
I don't know actually, but I think that'd be something to dig into.
I thought there was a town in Europe or somewhere, or a city, and that they started implementing AI to not an insignificant capacity, to actually a somewhat significant capacity. I'll try and find it if such things exist afterwards, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. But I agree, Frank. No, AI definitely has a lot of potential. The thing is, what a lot of people are going to say is that AI can be biased, and agreed, it can be biased. It can be biased by the humans developing it. That's why we have to have humans that are making sure that it's as unbiased as it could possibly and potentially be. How you do that, I'm not sure. I mean, you can't leave it on one person. You can't even leave it to a couple of people to do that. I mean, I feel like there has to be some sort of council, and there might have to even be a relatively large council of people or of humans that are responsible and trusted and uncorruptible as far as we can tell.
Well, the theory wisdom of the crowd, right? I'm sure you've heard of that.
No, I haven't.
So there's a belief that the more intelligence you gather, the better the intelligence becomes. So an example that's provided is at a state fair, they ran an experiment where they had a big jar of jelly beans, and they had everyone who came into the fair make a guess of how many jelly beans they thought were in this canister. So not one person was right, but when you took the average over all of the guesses, it was the exact number. And that is essentially what they say is emergence, that there is this emergence of systems or intelligence that come out of processes. And we could even say that that's maybe where consciousness comes from, is all these processes that are happening within our brain already. So that would be an interesting system to try to mimic, is you've got this citizen population. So why does an AI need to be run by a small group of people or even a government? Why not have it be run by all of its citizens?
Right. And look, and that's what America's mayor in New York City is kind of doing. He set up, because it's March Madness, he set up a bracket of things to fix in New York City, and we got to vote on what got fixed.
That's great. Amazing.
And just yesterday he filled his 100,000th pothole.
That's great.
And again, I'm just going to go on because because America's mayor, just so happens to be a Democratic socialist. So as of today, New York City has recorded its third safest month in its history.
Interesting.
3 months in a row. I call that the Comic-Con effect. For those who forgot, I don't know if I talked about it on the show, but that's what I call it. I call it the Comic-Con effect. Because apparently in San Diego, when Comic-Con comes to town, crime completely drops. And I have to assume it's because of all the positive vibes and energy that's just descended upon that city. That is just a virus of happiness and positivity that just gets spread.
I thought it would have been superheroes.
That too. But I feel that's what applied to Zoran Mamdani's campaign, and similar to Bernie's campaign, it was all roses and sunshine and all, and birds landing on the podium and all that stuff, and it was just a happy, positive campaign, and this was no different. So I kind of attribute it to that. That's not AI stuff, but anyways, Frank has a hard stop. We're done here today. This was another Detecting Intelligence live stream. Until this happens, there we go. We do this every weekday at 9 a.m. Eastern, and we're just going to be talking about more AI stuff, AGI stuff, and whatever comes to Frank and I's brain. And we hope you enjoyed this. Give this a like, a subscribe. Newsletter coming out soon. Other stuff coming out soon. I'm trying to milk these 30 minutes as much as possible. There it is, 30. All right, folks. Any party words, Frank?
No. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Today's evidence is logged. The timeline has been updated, and the future remains under investigation. If you found this useful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss the next analysis. You can also drop your questions in the comments. We read them, we use them, we investigate them. And for deeper dives, join the newsletter at detectingintelligence.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time, friend.